And so
Good morning.
Good morning.
Some of you are in the wrong spot. Your chairs are in the wrong spot. This is all new, but being some of us being Baptists, we're going to try to make the best of it.
Hey, did you
Figure out
change
where we are.
something in here?
Well, y'all are still together, so it's still good.
well, welcome back.
Yeah. Anyway, we're glad you're here today. Well, I'm sure we'll have some more coming in a few minutes. A few announcements. We have a book that has our quotes in them, or do we not? Did you bring a book with all our announcements in it? Okay.
Relevant, what?
The book.
Global
Yeah.
Entrepreneur Week is November 16th through the 21st. We have many, many things going on that week. There is a job fair at Economic Development from 10 to 2 that day. That is going to be on the 16th. And so we've got 16th, the job fair. There will be entrepreneurs highlighted every day that week by radio and video. So watch our Facebook feed. Okay. On Thursday, we're going to have a Cultivating Small Business Seminar. There will be multiple resource companies available that will be coming in talking to small businesses on how they can grow their business, how they can help finance their business. We'll have SBA, Small Business Development, PADS Revolving Loan Program, State of Kentucky. Help me out here, Jamie.
SBDC?
SBDC, and the Kentucky Innovation Network. If you would like to sign up for that, that is a free conference. It's available to anyone that owns a business, anybody that's interested in owning a business, anybody that would like to know more about resources available. Call the office. At lunch that day, we're going to have an innovative luncheon that will honor all entrepreneurs in Hopkins County. This is a free luncheon. Each company gets one free ticket. Did you make sure you signed up? You signed up? She's not. Okay. The luncheon is going to be 11:30. It is going to be at Economic Development and will last till about 1. Our keynote speaker for the day is Dr. Larry Cox, and he is from Pepperdine University. He came a little over 3 years ago, I think that's right, Gerald, and kind of helped us put a footing and grab some ideas for entrepreneurial development, which kind of started our culture and movement in this community. So we are really excited. He is excited to come and see what we have done, what's happened in the community college with the Synergy Lab, so we are excited about that. If you can sign up for that luncheon or sign up for the Cultivating Small Business, that would be great. On Friday, there is going to be an Export 101. If you've ever wondered about exporting your product or want information on doing that, this is a free seminar with a lunch sponsored by I-69 Alliance. And then after that, Kevin McLaren is going to give an I-69 update. So we've got a lot of free resources and things available during Global Entrepreneur Week. So please join us for that, and please call us and let us know what you'd like to come to. Our speaker for today is Greg Hefton from Hefton Farms. He was heavily recruited by his sister. I'm very proud. So come and learn more about his journey.
Great. If you are going to tag yourself on social media, please use that hashtag. Let's get used to using it. And that's a 1 there. It's Hopkins County 1 million cups. So put that as a hashtag and go on Facebook or whatever you use, just so we can kind of start collecting all of our media. Thank you.
Please take note. Good morning. I'm Greg Hefton from Hanson, and my sister has recruited me. She cornered me last week and wanted me to give her a little brief, description of what I was going to talk about. And so I started about age 13 and went through it. And I said, "Hey, so how did I do it?" She said, "Well, it wasn't but 5 minutes. You have to be a little less vague. So I'll try to be a little less vague. I've been here since 97, so about 18 years now. I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia, got in the chicken business, and I now have 48 chicken houses and 16 employees with that. I'm trustee of a cattle farm in Oklahoma, had 2 employees there. Have some rental property here in Webster and Hopkins County. Do spray foam insulation and commercial roof coatings. I guess I'll start back at my humble beginning in northeast Oklahoma in a little rural town right outside of Muskogee, where I grew up as a farm boy. And and went to school there. I guess I started as an entrepreneur around the age of 12, 13. And we lived on the state highway similar to Highway 41. And we were about 3+ miles from the Arkansas River, and they'd go down and party on the river banks on the weekends and build big bonfires, and they'd drink and they'd throw out their aluminum cans. So I would count some empty trash bags to my bicycle and put them in my back pocket. I'd ride my bike about 3 miles down to the river and smash those tin cans, put them in the trash bag, and I'd catch my older brother, my parent, driving into town. I'd turn them in, going by the river and throwing those bags of tin cans in the back. So I did that. One of the reasons why is my parents covered the necessities. That was, let's see, food and shelter, and then anything else, well, it costs money, so we thought, hey, you know, go make your own way. And so I did that, and 13, I made good use of my granny's hen house, and I bought 20+ laying hens. So maybe I've been in the chicken business since I was 13. So I had some laying hens, and so I thought, well, I have an agriculture thing going on here in Mississippi. So found out about the need for fresh milk, and my granny was going to help me milk a cow, so I went down. Got my first loan at the bank when I was 13, borrowed $300, bought me a Jersey milk cow with a calf. So I milked a cow, so I was selling milk and I was selling eggs. My granny was my best customer. She tipped good too. So I did that. And so around 15, my older brother and I, we planted an acre of okra and watermelons, cantaloupe. We did some truck patching with farmers market. We did that. And so high school came along, and I knew work. So I just continued to work, and I skipped sports. So I worked and took some of my earnings from some of these side jobs, bought me a chainsaw. So I got in cutting firewood. So I profit center, a little bit here, a little bit there. So I cut firewood and had to pay my older brother to deliver it for me, you know. So I did that. And in high school, I worked as a cashier at a little convenience store by the lake. I was a bagger at the local IGA supermarket my high school years. And so between my junior and my senior year, my parents decided to move out of state, but I wanted to stay and graduate with my 76 classmates. And so they left and I stayed. So kind of been on my own since I was about 17. Finished high school, and it took a village. I knew who had dinner at what time, Mark. And so I was there. So did that, and after I graduated from high school, kind of a free man, you know. So went down to Texas, got me a little job down there, and 3 or 4 months, and bought me a truck with a camper on it, and I guess around 18, 19, and decided I'd go visit some family and friends in Georgia. So I went to the Atlanta, Georgia area, went there to visit, and didn't have enough money to get back home on. So my brother-in-law, Ron's husband, he hired me to be a painter. So I painted during the summer in Atlanta, and didn't really like that, you know. But I saw a UPS truck going through the parking lot. Driver had the doors open, the breeze blowing through, and I thought, Kevin, that looks like a cool job, you know. So I approached him, and he told me where to go, you know, inquire about the job. I went. They hired me to run a route during Christmas. This was in October, I guess it was 88. And so they had just fired this guy for stealing COD money. And so they were just needing a driver to get through Christmas, and then they would do something later with the route. So they hired me. And it was a god-awful route, you know, suburbs of Atlanta. And they would give me 10 hours worth of work, and I'd come back in 8. I said, man, you are a good driver. Took me a while to tell them I was just scared, you know. Man, when I got out of the truck. Have you seen a UPS driver run? That was me. I was out and back in. So did that for that Christmas Eve, about 3 months. And during that time, I realized that they had fired this guy for stealing COD money, and it was an unassigned route. So Christmas Eve, you know, the system's empty. They delivered all the packages, and I knew they were going to lay me off. And I'd also kind of caught wind that this route would be put up for bid once Christmas was over. And I stood a chance of getting the route, because back then, UPS, for every 3 drivers they needed, they would get 1 from the outside. Instead of promoting from within, they don't do that anymore, but they did back in 1988. So Christmas, they laid me off, and after Christmas is over, the system's empty, so here's where the entrepreneur thing comes in, and perseverance, okay? I'm getting some of the story. So every morning for about 2+ weeks, I waited till all of the delivery guys were out and everybody left the building, and I knew the manager would be in his office yet. And I called him, "Good morning, Joe. It's Greg. I just want to check in with you. Say good morning. Hope you had a good day. Talk to you later." 2+ weeks went by. "Good morning, Greg. I've been waiting on you to call." I said, "Well, come on in." Got the route. Did that for 10 years as a UPS driver in Atlanta, Georgia. And for about the first year, I had to run this route. And I would hold descriptions of this route, but it was not a safe area to be in. So I had a chance to bid into another area to become an unassigned route. That's where they give you a map book, and they point you to the truck, and they tell you what exit to get off of, and pat you on the back. So I liked that. I never did know where I was going. It was a challenge to go out, empty all those packages to the right place, and make your pickups, come back. But after 5 or 6 years, Mark, remember I was a free man, you know. So I had somebody tell me what time I had to be here, what time I had to quit. I was limited what I could do during the day. Right? I didn't like somebody telling me what I had to do all day. So I thought, well, all right, so what did I know how to do? Well, I listed all these things that I'd done before, but I could make a lot of money doing them. So I looked at going in the restaurant business, barbecue restaurant and everything, and owning a convenience store, because see, I'd been a clerk. See, I figured out a convenience store. So I looked into that, and a couple of different things that I thought I would like doing because they were hobbies. So I thought I might try to live at that. Well, some people make money doing what they enjoy doing, and others just try to find pay. I didn't grow up wanting to be a chicken farmer, but so anyway, through a friend of a friend, they build chicken houses throughout, and I up here in northwest Kentucky, building chicken houses, and so I thought, wouldn't be a bad deal. I used to be in the chicken business, you know, that's money, yes, I could do that. So I came up here and inquired about it. It was Hudson Foods at the time. So I came up here and inquired with Hudson Foods about, you know, being a chicken farmer. They asked me, you know, do you have experience? Yeah, lots of experience, you know. So I came up here for about 5 months. I'd run my route on Fridays, skip my lunch, drive 6 hours up here, stop at the truck stop at Mont Eagle and take a shower, and come up here and I'd drive Saturday and Sunday looking for land. And I had all the county maps and looking around. I didn't use a realtor because I figured if they knew that somebody was looking for land to build chicken houses, nobody had any land for sale. So I knocked on a lot of doors and just did a lot of traveling up here for weekends on end. So found some property out here at Hanson, my first farm, and moved my wife and 3-year-old daughter up here to someplace we'd never been to do something that I never done before. So turned in my notice at UPS after a little over 10 years. Came up here, got the chicken business, built me a little 8-house farm, and had some special financing, so I was able to get in on that. And couple of flocks went by, and I was giving our litter away. Have a contract with Tyson to feed to their chickens. But when the chickens die, they now belong to me. And when they eat feed and drink water, well, the byproduct of that belongs to me too. So it became a big issue what to do with all this manure. And some chicken farmers, it was piling up, couldn't give it away. So I gave my first flock away, and then I came up here to the extension office and I gathered information on the benefits of poultry litter, what it does to the soil, and the NK value. So I started going around to different farmers trying to find someone to buy my chicken litter. So I found a farmer because I knew the benefits of it in Georgia. I might back up here with that. So when I was a UPS driver, looking to leave what was a pretty good job to be a chicken farmer, which I really didn't know much about, but I didn't tell anybody that. So I started on the weekends prior to coming up here. I would go around, because there was chicken farms in our area, and I would inquire about, I don't care, so how you like being a chicken farmer? Some would tell me they loved it, and some would tell me they hated it. So that's when I realized, Mark, that when you're going to get into something, don't just go around and talk to people who will tell you, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. You'd be good at that. Really? So I learned right then years ago. So I'd get the good and the bad and the ugly, and it was confusing to me. I'm like, wait, no, but Carol likes it. Rhonda doesn't. Carol makes money. Rhonda doesn't. So I sorted all that out and made the choice and moved up there. So back to my litter story. So I go and find someone to buy my chicken litter. Okay. $5 a ton. It's mean. Okay. So family local farm and slaughters, and he was buying my litter for a couple of flocks, and he comes to me one day, and he was a bit irate. He said, I'm not going to buy your litter anymore. So he said, all the other chicken farmers are just giving it away if they can find someone to give it to, and I'm buying your litter. And there's a problem. There's a problem. I don't see the problem. But here's what he did. People can motivate you. And so he told me this day, he said, not only will I stop buying your litter, one day you'll pay me to haul this, you know what off. It didn't sit too well with you. So that's when I went out and I started hitting up other farmers to buy my litter. But they didn't have means of spreading it, so I didn't take care of that, so I bought a spreader truck. So I buy a spreader truck, and now I can sell you chicken litter for your farm, reclaim ground, do a lot of reclamation work, and I can spread it. So we got into that. So I was selling more litter than what I had. So I started going around to all these different chicken farmers who had litter piled up, and it's free, and I've given a couple of dollars a ton for it. See? So we got up to, we had 3 spreader trucks, 120 plus houses. We were poop brokers, you know, buying chicken litter and reselling it, spreading it, and getting pretty good at that. And, so I was making some money off of that, and these farms cost a lot, and they're single purpose structures, so you can accelerate your depreciation. And so they're being paid off real quick. See? So I mean, the principle was, so I was building up some equity. There we go, building up equity. So I was able to buy another farm about a year and a half after my first farm. So that was another 8-house farm, so I got that farm. And after 3 years, from moving up here, I had 24 chicken houses. And we had all this litter business going, and you know, getting cold trucks to move it on the weekends, and tracks. It was a lot to keep up with. So after almost 4 years of that, I sold that business and focused more on my chicken house business. And I later required more farms, and over the last 18 years I've acquired 88 chicken houses in all. Some I would buy and flip as is, some I would buy, fix up, and sell. Sometimes 62 houses for a little over 7 years that I managed right here in Hopkins, Webster County. And during that time, I was Tyson Foods' 3rd largest contract grower within their company. That was one guy, you know. I used to have a partner. We departed ways, so I'm so longer, and I have a lot of good employees. You know, I'm not self-made, You know, I've convinced a lot of people to loan me money, bankers, and a lot of good employees. One of the guys that I hired 18 years ago during my first flock is still with me. From cattle farm in Oklahoma, where I grew up. My grandfather left his estate in trust, and I'm a trustee, so I have 2 employees there, and he's one of them, the guy that I hired 18 years ago. I have one guy that's been with me 15. A number of them have been with me 10 plus years. So a lot of that contributes to some of my experience, but a lot of it is from reading the book when I was 16 on how to win friends and influence people. And if there's anybody here that has not read that book, it's 70 plus years old, you know. And the principles, Mr. Lee, they're as true now as they were 70 years ago, as they were 1,000 years ago. It's just good people skills. Whether you're an employee, whether you're an employer, whether you're a son, daughter, husband, wife, it's just good stuff. And I tell you, read the book.
Right.
Read the book. So I was able to, you know, help manage people. I learned from it, you know. In the early days, I really messed up, you know, with people, some employees. This guy that just still works for me, he used to like to get up real early, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and do his work so he could ride his motorcycle in the summer. And there was one occasion I drove by, because I provide housing for each farm. I have farm managers, so I provide 8 of my employees housing on the farm. So I went by one morning, maybe 7 or 8, and his vehicle was still there, Kevin. So a couple hours later, his vehicle was still there. Knocked on the door, and he wasn't home. It's 9 o'clock, you know. So finally he calls me back, maybe 11, 12 o'clock, Mark. I was fit to be tied. So what's the problem? I said, I came by at 8 o'clock, your vehicle was there, your truck. Came by 10 o'clock, and here it's 12 o'clock now, you're just now calling me. You know, he just let me just real tight. He said, well, what's wrong with the job I've done? You know, but what's wrong? I said, well, you've got to do this, this, and this. He's great. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. All that work is done. Oh. What's the matter? So you learn to eat crow, you know, when you just so,
We've all been there.
oh yeah. So I did the farms, and a lot of the things that in the early days of the poultry industry, we would need different equipment, different materials, different parts, from filters to different equipment. My first farm out here, back when we had spreader business, I built a nice shop, built a nice office, kept it clean, tidy, professional looking. So when these different salespeople selling equipment, house washers, different equipment we use in the litter, to our big water filtration systems, I needed one. But I'd tell them, look, I would do service work and make me a distributor, and I can sell this. So a lot of the things that I use now, I became a distributor for years ago, and my thought process was OPM, other people's money. So my theory was, you know, I sold 4 or 5 house washers. I made enough money selling other people's house washers to pay for mine. I sold big crushers, helped partially pay for mine. My water filtration systems on multiple farms, somebody else paid for them because I was buying mine 50% of retail, and I was selling you 100%. So none of this I learned back in high school, but they were just, I guess, really fear of failure. You know, is a big motivator for me. It certainly was back then, it still is. And wanting to be successful just at anything that I don't have to go punch a time clock for. Let somebody dictate what I can and cannot do during the day. It's turned out a lot better than I would have ever thought. I'm very, very blessed, and I acknowledge from where blessings come from, mine anyway. Don't don't know why he picked me, but I'm glad he did, and I'm humbled by it. I've said before that my story is a bit unique, because I started all this on $1,000. When it was Hudson Foods, before it was Tyson. They put it on the radio, newspaper. Some of y'all that were here 18, 19, 20 years ago maybe recall. They couldn't get people to build chicken houses, so they got with John Hancock and MetLife and had this block of $40 million. And if they could find a sucker to build a chicken farm, they'd just loan him 100%. And if you didn't own land, well, they'd finance that too. So that's the part, Joe, that really got me confused down in Georgia when I was talking to my wife. Something's wrong with this. How are you gonna get a $1.3 million loan for $1,000? You know, and I'm 30. So that was my rationale. So I'm like, well, so if I try and I don't like it at 30, you know, just do something else. So this all started on $1,000. And my second farm, which joins my first farm, the guy that ran it for a year, never did go to close. Tyson was stuck out there with his farm. I didn't think they were interested in me having another farm. I just been in it a year. So the complex manager called me one day and said, you ought to just buy that farm back there. I said, oh. Well, blah, 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 blah. He said, you know, you can buy a little property, build a road, and be your farm. I said, well, how did this all work? He said, well, they haven't gone to close yet, so we still constantly pay all the bills, then they arrange all this financing, you go and get their money. He said, well, it cost you $1,000, so boom, another 1.4 million, I had another $1,000 into it. So it was easy to get, but I had found after 18 years, it's harder to keep, much harder. And my accountant, over the years, I would pause here and say, if you're going to go into business, it's good to have good accountant, good attorneys. Before the last 18 years, I didn't have any use for accountants, and I didn't have any use for attorneys, you know. But I have since learned that $150 to let an attorney fuss at you a little bit is well worth it. So there's a couple that I use here in town. They all have different personalities. And I'll go and I'll talk to one about this thing. He strokes my feathers. I got another one that he's old and cantankerous and he just yells at me and fusses at me. That's good too, because it goes back to whenever I was looking at getting in the chicken business. I like for people to tell me things that, be honest with you, you know, just don't always stroke my feathers. So I don't know how many new entrepreneurs or people who are looking at getting a business, that just don't go around just surrounding yourself with people who want to stroke your feathers and tell you you're smart and you can do it. Those people kind of scare me. The same people that I look to hire when they can tell me they can do anything. That's the worst thing to tell me, is that you can do anything. I can do anything. Because that means, Mayor, that probably they can't do very much. So that's another thing she's taught me. But so how am I doing on time, Ron? Have I got more than 5 minutes? Amanda, this more than 5 minutes?
Yeah, you're about 6 minutes in.
I thought I was being a little less vague.
It's 8 o'clock, you have some questions?
Oh, it's 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
That was my goal, 30 minutes. You should try to make it 30 minutes. So I've ventured around a little bit. I've been to Asia, half a dozen Asian countries, 10 or 12 times. Did a startup company in China back 7 or 8 years ago. Used to go a lot. Don't do much anymore because I have so much going over here and don't like to fly. But I've tried things that was a failure too. Not that is one of them, but I used to try a lot of different things. And people that knew me, they'd say, hey, you go do this, you do that. And I realized they were stroking my feathers. That's all. So I'm now at this stage in life where I'm just trying to put it on autopilot more and just keep good altitude, and here maybe soon try to find a place jet.
Pictures?
Oh, pictures, thank you. So, here, a couple of years ago, after these buildings get old, and I own over 100 buildings, and most of them have metal roofs. So, the maintenance is a big thing, big on maintenance. So, I had a need for roof coating. This farm here is a property out in Hanson, and it's one of mine. Some of y'all may know the Calhoun's Colonial Farms. Well, this is an old hog farm that joins my property out there, and I acquired it 12, 13 years ago. And I like buying property that joins me, so this was one of them, but the roof was in bad shape. So I get Hefton Building Improvements. We buy commercial roof coating and this way, and spray foam insulation. So we've been coating our roofs and spray foaming the inside of our chicken houses. There's some grant money for that, and okay, there we go. So this is a roof that, as you see, has a lot of rust on it. So we go in and we treat all the fasteners, nail heads, screw heads, and kill the rust. And then it's a 3-step process that we come along. Put the coating on here.
Gotta love technology.
Oh, okay. Good help, yeah. So this is how we treat the fasteners. And this is one of my farms down in Irving. You can see right here that for some reason the roof, the building burnt. It's out on reclaimed property. It burnt about 10 years ago. Instead of the land going down, it just went up, and then it did it for about a year and it stopped. So we went inside, did a little work, and it was a Tyson owned. It was a company farm at the time. I bought it 7 or 8 years ago, and we redid that roof. That's there. So that's another application on chicken house there, just trying to make them last. You know, so goes the roof, so goes the building. So it has a lot of equipment on the inside that costs a lot of money. So we've been putting wire harnesses on our roofs. And not only are we doing our roofs and chicken houses, but OPM, Mr. Cook, I need somebody else to help pay for my equipment. So we do roofing and spray foam installation for other people. And this is what we're doing here with the spray foaming of the walls. Helps make the house tighter, helps insulate against cold weather, and helps insulate the house during the summer too, so the house doesn't get so hot. And I think it may be, that's it.
Greg, on your roofing, are you using EPDM rubber, or is that a spray
It's,
foam?
well, we have silicone and we have acrylic.
Okay. You don't use the EPDM?
Don't ask me a lot of questions about roofing. I have my 2 nephews that
But
do
the
that.
EPDM it's a rubber, almost an epoxy,
Yeah.
where you mix, and it's a long curing time, but it does make a good roof.
No,
It's
this
a rubber
this-
roof.
This is not that. It's mainly,
So do you-
silicone, we have.
They're gonna present at another time, so, don't
Okay.
ask too many questions.
Do you charge, or do you do the roofing for others?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's the
Why did I know
other
that?
people's money.
Yeah, that's how I really like for other people to pay for my equipment. That's the idea.
Don't blame me.
How heavily do you lean on technology in your chicken farms? Or have you started more, or do you try to like upgrade the technology?
Well, that's a good question. After 18 years, we just spent $1.5 million this year renovating 40 of them houses with new computers, and new fans, new heaters. So, and that's a long time. There's a lot of farms that started upgrading 12 to 15 years worth of life. But we just upgraded all computers. I can check so many statuses from my iPad, my phone, check CO2 levels in the house, which is important, humidity, ammonia. They have sensors that I can read all this now from my iPad, temperatures inside the houses, and make changes to the temperature, make changes to the fans, just really can control that house from iPad. And my farm managers can do the same, from their residence. So, believe it or not, we rely heavily on technology to monitor houses. I mean, chickens are very finicky. They're almost as finicky as a woman. I mean, just a little thing will stress them out. So,
Have things changed as far as the I know, like, back in the day, Tyson, you said the feed that they give them, they had certain things in it that now they.
Yeah, I wanna know what's in it.
And all that kind of stuff. So has that changed along the way? Have you seen-
It has genetics in the bird. We keep the birds now around 52, 54 days, and the target weight is 6.5 pounds. 18 years ago, the same weight was 5.5. So through genetics and through feed, which is, people wonder why how do you get these chickens to grow so fast, is it what they put in the feed? A lot of it has to do with genetics. They raise these birds up to grow fast. You have to keep the conditions right in the house for optimum performance. You have to have, the air has to be just right, the temperature has to be just right. I mean, there's 100 things that can go wrong with the bird, and you want them to perform. And there's a big difference in income. It's on a pay scale. Tyson pays just flat rate. And if you do bad, based on ventilation, temperature, 100 different things, well, then the scale goes this way. So the bottom guy, he makes less money. The guy at the top makes more money. You take away from the guy that did a bad job, you give it to the guy that did a good job.
Well, you realize you're talking to a competitor in here, don't you?
Okay?
Everything.
If you-
I just have eggs.
Yeah.
Do your chickens lay eggs? I'm a city girl. I don't know how this works for
No,
those
because
kind of chickens.
all mine are broilers. We get them when they're just baby chicks, they hatch that day, keep them for 7 weeks, and they don't have enough time to develop to lay an egg.
See, women, we have time to wait.
That's right.
We're patient people. You wait, you grow your chicken, you just don't.
They do start to crow after about 7 weeks, so if we keep them for a long time, the roosters will start to crow. They're good at that about 7 weeks or so, but the hens, takes them a bit longer to lay an egg than it does for a rooster to crow.
That's difficult. Yes.
It's
Little head of themselves.
Yes, sir.
Fascinating story of your journey. If you could look back at whatever point in that journey, what are some of the things that you might have done differently based on lessons learned?
That's a good question. My sister tried to fill me with some questions that would be asked. And maybe a few relationships in my earlier days when things didn't go with my people. If I was young, I'm not so old now, but in the most humble way. I would have done a whole lot different because I'm okay with who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm humble, I'm confident, but any big more respectful to my parents and that kind of thing. But as far as business, I'd go into a bank. I borrowed a lot of money. I go into banks with expecting to get a loan. I mean, I really do. I go in with that attitude. I don't borrow much money anymore, but that's just the attitude I have. So I don't. Probably my just relationships with a few people, because it used to be, I'll probably a good time to add this. I thought I was broke 2 times. So those are critical times. I do have an answer for you. In my earlier days, the first 8 years, I was broke. I mean, I was just wound up like an 8-day clock, expanding, buying a farm, doing this, doing that, and I grew too quick. And, I had to step back and I hit the pause button and I thought I was out. And so when you get like that, the only thing you can do, Mary, is just stand. Just stand. Just stand, and just, okay, so I learned that. And then when you do it the second time, you're like, man, this can't happen again. So probably overextended too. The way that I have gone about doing things, a lot of things, in building my business, it's not a way that I'd recommend to my children. I do understand that it's rare that someone, that homeschooled most of his life, skipped 5th grade, went 3 years of a real school, no college, just, I read the book. See, I read the book and learned pretty good people skills early on, and I was a hard worker. And I believe that I could do anything that somebody else could do. I might be a lawyer, do anything, but I didn't go to school. So, but I did know hard work. Learned that early on. Nothing's been given to me. So it just worked. They said, what all do you know how to do? Well, I know how to work. That I know how to work. But as I get older, Carol, I'm starting to look around and
We'll
say,
talk about that.
yeah, what's all this about anyway, Kevin? All this work. So, anyway, next question.
Speaking of getting older, you're not yet, but when you do, you have one daughter, you have a bunch of other people that work for you, you have a whole bunch of stuff that you're gonna have to figure out what.
Exit strategy.
You do have two really good nephews working for you. What are you thinking?
Well, I have 3 children. I have a
Okay.
daughter here, and I have a 13 and a 15-year-old
Oh, that's right.
in Nashville, and I have a home there. I go there about every weekend. And I do have my 2 nephews that are into the spray foam and commercial roof coatings. My exit strategy would be to maintain my chicken houses and downsize a little bit. Might sell a big farm that I have, put me down to maybe about 24 chicken houses, where I can manage it, where I can be gone more and travel. Some of these people that's been with me for years, empower them a little bit more, but keep my chicken houses more. I mean, it's a food business. You know, chicken's a good, cheap source of protein, and so, you know, I've worked hard to maintain this, and I can skip out. I go to Oklahoma a lot. So my exit strategy is just to be nice to people, be kind, live a long, healthy life, die, go ahead. That's my exit strategy.
Works for me.
But just keep doing what I'm doing. People like me, Mark, we have to keep. You just can't go play golf. You know, it's like that deal, like that drive, man. You know what I'm talking about? Kevin knows too. You just gotta keep, going, and that motivates me. I like it.
Greg, I think what it comes down to is, and I've told others, do what you like to do. If you really enjoy it, you're gonna be good at it, and the money will take care of itself.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That reminds me of my late grandfather that left his estate, cattle farming trust. I'm trustee. He died at 96 back in 08. He told me once that he said his son-in-law was talking to him one day and said, his name is Dean, my grandpa. He said, Dean, why don't you just go on into town? Get you a place in town. Have some fun, enjoy life, and just do what you want to do. And Grandpa was telling me this story, and he looked at me, Mary, and said, but I thought I was. You know?
That's classic.
Question for you. So how do it seems like to identify the right farm manager would be that you must be outstanding at that.
Identifying farm managers.
Identifying the right person or getting rid of them when they're not working quickly. I mean, that would seem like that would be a pretty critical thing. So can you talk a little bit about that, how you find your people and what you're looking for and what you're not looking for?
What I'm not looking for is someone who likes to hang around the house. Okay? Someone who is I have to go to every morning and tell them what to do. I'm a delegator. I'm a huge delegator. I empower people. If I have to, tell them every day what to do, I don't need them. I did get tutored by some different people down through the years. Whenever I started doing this, I'd call chicken farmers back in Georgia that I met, and different people, but what I look for is people who don't need to go to town with their wife all the time. I ain't going into town. These chickens are confined to a building, okay? It's 24/7, so you have to, that's why I provide housing on the farm so people live there. So it requires a guy, not discriminate, but all my farm managers are males, okay? But they like to be pillars. They go home for a little bit and they like to be outside because there's always something to do. So I look for people who know a little bit about handyman skills, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, self-starters. And it doesn't take long to weed them out, you know. And I rely on my other employees to weed the bad ones out. I do have a new hire that's been with me a couple of flocks. That means like 4 months. And we go in, we condition the litter. When the birds go out, we have to get it ready. We have like 2 weeks to get ready for another flock. And so I don't spend a lot of time in the chicken house, but I have people who do. So we go in there and we work the litter. And my superintendent that's been with me about 10 years. And I might add too, I own a farm in Seabury that about 3 years ago, we purchased this farm, remodeled it and kept it. And the guy that's been with me for about 10 years is my superintendent, diesel mechanic, gas mechanic, electrician, plumber. He's my go-to guy. I was really finished buying farms, but these people called me and they said, hey, we got this farm, you know, my parents are ill and I don't want to, can you buy it? First I told him no, then I called him back the next day because I talked to Russell. And I said, hey, you want to do this farm together? You've helped me buy farms, you know, and fix them up, sell them, I make money. Well, let me talk to my wife. Well, she's scared to death, you know, with all that debt. But I never bothered me, I sleep and all that through that debt. So I do have a partner in one farm, a guy that's been with me a long time. So he has a little skin in the game. So he owns half of a farm. But back to your point. He said, we got a problem with this farm manager down here. He said, you ought to see the dead in the house. Well, when the chickens die, number one, we walk the houses every day. You walk the houses and you pick up what dead. Sometimes it might be 2 or 3, sometimes it might be 20 or 30, sometimes more, but we won't talk about that. So he was leaving the dead, see, and that spreads bacteria. So he grew those birds for 7 weeks, and I wasn't in the house so much. So he thought he was getting away with picking up his dead, but it all comes around here. You'll find out. So yesterday, I had to go inside a chicken house. And so we go back there, and I start pointing out all these dead birds in the litter. And I fuss at it a little bit. Sometimes you have to speak their language, man. You got to get down there and kind of rough them up a little bit, you know. I go around and people really think I'm a nice guy. But when they mess up, I do. Whenever I go to discipline someone, Carol, just like my children, first off, I give them a compliment. So I read the book. Read the book. First, I pay them a compliment. Then I hit them with what I think they've done wrong. You know, I'd like for you to do a better job, and try to use the we and the us and the ours, and you know, a little less I and a little less me. And I hit them, you know, verbally, kind of fuss at them, and then I leave them with a little pat on the back, you know, a little touch on the elbow. But oh, by the way, here, that looks good. So I begin on a high note and I end on a high note. So, yeah. But that's kind of how we weed out mine.
Do you typically, I'm sorry, I don't mean to
No.
dominate, but do you typically, so the people that end up being the managers, have they kind of come up through your system in some way? Like where they've had previous job, or I didn't know if you...
Well, most of my farm managers are brought in from friends of people who work for me.
Yeah, okay.
See, I used to just go out and think, well, you know what, my farm, my business, I'll hire who I want to. And I did that before, and it wasn't a nice fit with some of the other farm managers who I rely on them to help teach them what to do. So I call on them. So if they didn't get along with them, he stuck out there and let Phil by himself, and that's more on me. So I've learned whenever somebody's, you know, thinking about quitting, I'm the last to know. See? Because they've gone to the fellow farm managers, you know, and so when they tell me they're going to quit, which is not too often because I'm such a great guy to work for. And, there may be a few farms that pay more than me, but most chicken farms are owner-operators. They own it and manage it. They don't have the business model that I have is kind of unique, you know, multiple farms in a 2-county area. There's some people out there that own 12, 20 houses in 3 states, you know, 4 here, 6 here and 8 over there. But back to your point, I've learned to let them tell me who would be good. Hasn't always worked out best doing it that way, but they do a better job than I do.
Yeah.
And I recognize that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have all kinds of questions.
Okay.
I think you might have said this in the beginning, I don't know, maybe you said it in a roundabout way, but in the world of Tyson, are you, like, what's your,
I'm a contract grower.
how much of their chicken do you furnish or whatever? Are you like?
Well, this complex has, I think around 490 roller houses. It's this complex in the row bars, and I have 48.
10%.
48, yeah.
10%.
They integrate.
Are you, percentage-wise of their contractors? Are you like a bigger one or a smaller one, or?
I'm their big, I was last year I sold 14 houses.
I think that's what you said.
And I had
Okay.
for 7+ years, I had 62 farms, 62 houses. And during that time, when I had 62, one of the VPs from Springdale came down one time and he said, "Oh yeah, we know who you are." He said, "You're our #3 contract grower." So that was back when I had 62. There's quite a few people that own, 20, 30 chicken houses, but 62, they don't like integrators, including Tyson, don't like. They prefer not to have people like me, because if something was to happen to me, that's a huge impact on this complex up here where they're processing 1.3 million birds a week. Something happens to me, get sick, bankrupt, something happens to me, the bank for that's a huge, percentage how they look at it. If I had a 2-house farm, something happens to me that's next, But I have a lot of houses, and if I was, I sold 14, I'll never get 14 back. A few years I may sell the 24-house farm down here in Arlington. If I sell that, and they want me to sell houses, they don't want me to have so many, but I kind of like it. So just keep it.
What about, this is totally going a different direction now. You have, you have done many different things, the chicken houses, the roof, the insulation, all that stuff, yeah. Do you see anything else? Are there things that you have caught your attention that you're thinking about, or how do you know, is there something else you might want to add? Or?
Well, you mentioned earlier about doing things that you like, and I did a lot of things. I didn't really want to be a chicken farm. I just thought it was a good source of income, and didn't have anybody telling me, where I had to be and what I had to do. So over the last couple of years, my sister and I have gotten involved with the health and wellness company, and that's probably the most personal thing that I've done. All these others was just, hey, make money. That's just what it is. But a few years ago, I was concerned about my health because I wanted no big hurry to get to heaven, So I found out all this information. Wow, I didn't know this, Lee. I didn't know all these things about the body. So I just figured other people would want to know it too, because it made an impact in my life, how I sleep, my energy level, my health. I don't want to go to the doctor, don't take pills, don't want to go to the doctor and take pills. So to answer your question, Carol, that probably health and wellness, and that's where South Park. If anybody want to know anything about Genesis, health and wellness, be wrong. About some roofing, spray foam insulation, I'll put you in touch with my nephews. So I like to keep it, that's how I can function. People say, how do you keep up with all that you have going on? I'm big compartment. I'll pull a drawer open, I'll deal with it, I'll close it. One thing at a time. But I can close that drawer pretty quick. Yes, sir.
Greg, since you've been in the chicken business for quite some time, overall, how is the quality of your product, once you leave your place to get to Tyson, has it improved in your years being in the business?
It has. Third-party animal welfare groups have came about, and they audit, these third parties, they audit our farms. And they didn't do that 18 years ago. make sure that the cold birds, the chicks that don't make it to the plant, make sure that they're put down properly. The integrator, Tyson, is more involved in what happens on your farm in between flocks. They pay additional money for different things that they didn't used to do to control bacteria in the liver. Tyson is now going to free antibiotics. You know, a lot of integrators are doing that. That's the big thing now, no antibiotics. So I would say that that's huge, huge difference in the last 18 years is the no antibiotics. That's a big thing for a lot of people.
Does anybody have any other questions? We have time for maybe one really good burning question. Anyone? Oh, yeah. Anybody got a good one for him? No?
Well, to build off of that, I mean, do you find that process of dealing with the third-party groups or regulations, is it onerous, or is it, I mean, is it a problem for you, or is it?
Not at all,
Mhm.
because it's kind of like with the law. If you obey the law, don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
See? So we do everything right. They come on the farms, they inspect, and everything works on my farm. They got one of everything. I got 2 shops, and we keep parts. Everything works on my farm. We got extra parts. If it's broke, we fix it. So, hey, just come on in. Tyson brings a lot of these people out to my farms and show me off. You know, because a lot of farms aren't as efficient. They don't not neat and clean. And we just did major remodeling, I mentioned earlier, on my farms, and the bankers and the appraisers are just blown away that my farms are 18 years old. And they just, keep the roof on them. They're good for another 20, 30 years, as long as people keep eating chicken. So for those of you who eat chicken, especially Tyson chicken, I thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I just got a chance to go out to his farm for the first time the other day. Wow. It's beautiful. I mean, he's done a lot. I wanted to ask you about the water. We didn't get to talk about how you made the lakes so you could get your own water. That was kind of cool, but we didn't get to that. So go out there and see his farm sometime. And I want to say too, Greg, thank you so much for being, he's a very generous man. He may not get out and get to do things in the community, belong to civic organizations because he's kind of busy, but he does help. He is donating or lending us Rotary Club for the Veterans Parade next week. He is loaning us a really cool farm wagon that you would have pay rides in and a truck to take our Rotary football team winners to through the parade next week. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. Next week we have Mad City Bakery. We are going on a field trip, so we are not going to be here. We're going to be at Mad City on Sugg Street. Do not come here because there won't be anybody here. So we're going to meet at Mad City at 7:30. I'm pretty sure there might be some food, just maybe a little bit to taste. Who knows? And the next week we're going on another field trip. We're going to be at the Synergy Lab at MCC with Kim Simons at the college. There will be more information. There'll be emails coming out about it. And if you have any questions about where everything is and how to get there, let one of us know and we can sure help you. And another, and then let's see, the 25th is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. There will be no 1 Million Cups that day. And then we have a couple more openings before the end of the year. So if anybody knows anyone that might be interested in getting in to do a presentation for the end of the year, we certainly have a few openings that we can fill. And tomorrow, this is something on a whole other subject. Tomorrow, right here in this room at 7:30, Mad City Morning Mingle is going to be here. Kevin is cooking breakfast. Everyone is invited. Kevin's not here. I keep pointing to him. He's not here.
No.
Everyone is invited to attend. It's from 7:30 to 9, and the community leaders from Jessamine County that are here visiting the Chamber of Commerce this week are going to be our guests tomorrow morning. So there's going to be about 40 to 50 people here, and it's going to be a real fun morning. They're going to they wanted to come to 1 Million Cups, but they couldn't get them here this quick. They're coming in this morning. So 9, mingling. It's just a business networking meeting, real informal, fun, and we get to eat. So anyone have anything else they want to add? Anything going on? Thank you so much for coming. It was great, and we'll see you next week at Mad City.